Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is, and that is who the world ignorantly calls God. Bahashem, which means in the name, Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation. And that is who the world also ignorantly calls Jesus, a so called black man, who, by the way, only came for the Israelites. All right. Now, what brings us to our discussion slash topic this afternoon is that this administration is using immigration for everything. Okay. And eventually, it's just going to be made evident where it is, what it is. Okay? Now, this is a news article from CNN, and the headline reads Trump administration considers forcing banks to verify customers' citizenship. All right? So, this is where we at with it right here. All right? They are considering forcing banks to verify customers' citizenship. All right. So, in order for you to have a bank account, you're going to have proof of a citizenship of the United States of America. And not just if you want one, but if you currently have one as well. All right. Let's read the article a little bit. It says the Trump administration is weighing a new requirement for U.S. banks to verify citizenship information of current, if you have a bank account, and a lot of us, may have Cash App or Zelle or what have you. Guess what? All of those are going to have proof of citizenship as well. Okay, because why? This is the path or the route that they're taking us down on. Okay? Verification, proof, this, that, everything. And it is all under the guise or guidelines of immigration. We want to make sure everyone is here that's supposed to be here and that they're not, swindling or what's the other word? Not swindling, but you can use swindling, but what's the other word for laundering money? All right, money laundering. It says the Trump administration is weighing a new requirement for U.S. banks to verify citizenship information of current and future customers as part of the president's aggressive immigration crackdown. See? And they can say, well, they don't have proof of citizenship. How do we know they're not laundering the money from, this bank or this Zelle or Cash App or what have you to fund illegal activities? All right. See, they want to ultimately track every spending transaction that you complete. All right. That's the blueprint of the mark of the beast system, to track everything you do. From spending to breathing to eating to everything. Okay? It says the president's aggressive immigration crackdown, sources told CNN. The potential action, which one source said could take the form of an executive order, has raised concern in the industry that banks could be compelled to ask customers for an unprecedented category of documents. See? So when you get a job, they want you to, now all of a sudden, if you're applying online, they want you to take a photo picture of your driving license, a photo picture of your birth certificate, a photo picture of your social security. They ask you, are you legally capable of or authorized to work here in the United States of America? So we see where it's going at, all right? It's all going to what? It's all heading to that, path of you will own nothing and like it, all right? Because they're slowly but surely stripping away everything you had to try to keep that independence. Because in this new system that's going to be up and coming, the mark of the beast system, there will be no independence. Okay? There will be, I'm independent. I can know you're going to be on the grid and you're going to be acquiescent to whatever it is that they tell you to. All right? Or else you're not going to get any of the, rewards that comes with those that do. So it says the potential action, which one source said could take the form of an executive order, has raised concern in the industry that banks could be compelled to ask customers for an unprecedented category of documents, including passports and other documents that verify citizenship status. So my question is, if you already have a bank account and you can't prove that, then what's going to happen with the money that's, in your bank account? Or better yet, what's going to happen with you? All right? See, this could be a ploy to gather more intel for when they really get ready to come in, like that great flood, that they can see, okay, this person doesn't have proof of citizenship, but they have an account. All right? And if they go to take their money out, we can trace and track that, via by the way of, whatever apps that they use or whatever bank that they bank with, okay? So it says, including passports and other documents that verify citizenship status. The source cautioned that plans haven't been finalized and that there are still considerations underway over other options and legal authorities, right? This goes to show you that it's not your money. All right. It's not your money. It was never your money. All right. This is all fiat. All right. Just pretty much a IOU. And the banks, they just do fractional reserve. They only hold parts of your money. All right. And banks are becoming obsolete anyways. Just like the penny got fade out, banks are going to be fade out. Okay. And the only way you're going to have, the capability of buying and selling is if you take that mark, that charagma, all right? And this is where it's heading to, all right? They're stripping away your independence, okay? Because you're not going to have any independence in the up-and-coming beast system, all right? So let's see if there's anything else. It's a bad idea. We are very alarmed, a financial industry source told CNN. Yeah, and it says right here, the industry source added that bank executives worry the order is designed to force them to play a role in the administration pursuit to deport undocumented immigrants, right? And it's just all pretty much setting in place the mark of the beast system, all right? Because guess what? When this beast system transition, when this system that we're currently in right now fully transition into the beast system, what do you think your money's going to be sitting at unless you can prove that you belong here? Unless you have the charagma. See, this is where it's all leading to. All you, career-driven, independent, especially you women that are building up this quote-unquote generational wealth, where do you think it's leading to? You're being led down the snare. You're being led down the trap. You're being led down the road to everything. All right, because once this thing is here, they're going to say, in order for you to keep your money, to keep your funds, we need proof. All right, and you have to have verification. And the way AI is taking over right now, you can't tell the real from the fake. So they're going to say you have to have a certified identification, digital ID, and it's going to be backed by the mark of the beast. Okay. See, the FDIC, the insurance that is supposed to insure you for up to $250,000, that ain't gonna be no good, man. All right, you're gonna have to get a digital ID. More than likely, it's gonna be on the RFID microchip, and it's going to say that you are you. You belong to this province. You belong to this country. You belong to this state, this address. All right. It says it's not clear whether President Donald Trump will eventually sign an executive order, the possibility of which was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. All right. So this is where they're taking it at. Okay. If Trump signs such an executive order, it will require banks to retroactively get citizenship information from existing customers and collect it from new customers, the industry source said. And I can see a lot of bank runs coming out for this. If they give the people a heads up and say, you have such and such amount of time, or you have such and such amount of days to get us the citizenship, or we're going to start closing out your accounts, I can see bank runs starting to happen. People trying to take their money out the banks before they, become, solvent, before the banks, just pretty much start going out of business. It says if Trump signs such an executive order, it could require banks to retroactively get citizenship information from existing customers and collect it from new customers. The industry source said verifying every bank customer's citizenship status would be unworkable, right, under this current system. But under the RFID microchip, the mark of the beast, it wouldn't be that much, okay? Because everybody would be chipped and put into the database, and they would have the information already put into it. Your bank account, your medical records, where you live, where you work, all of that's going to be put on one chip. It says verifying every bank customer citizenship status would be unworkable. The source said representatives for major banks and industry groups declined to comment, right? Because those are going to be the main ones that come out of the smoke after all is settled. The major banks and the industry groups. All right, your Chase, your Wells Fargo's, your Bank of America. Those little mom and pop banks, they're not going to make it. All right, it's going to be pretty much all of the major banks. Okay, they're going to be the ones that really push this mark of the beast, this charagma, which we already know that they're behind on the Genius Act, okay? Trying to make stable coins, a alternative to cash that banks could, eventually, which I think they already passed the bill, the Genius Act bill has already been passed, that banks can now regulate stable coins, okay? So this is all where we're heading to, okay? So this is the article. Let's go ahead and get a few precepts and then we'll close out. Won't make it that long. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13 and 16. It reads, and he causes all. See, he's going to make it to where in order for you to keep your money, in order for you to get paid, in order for you to have any resemblance of the life that you think you had before, you're going to have to take this mark, this charagma, this RFID microchip, all right, which is indeed a physical device, pretty much about the size of a grain of rice. It's going to be a physical implantable device. It's not going to be no sin or nothing like that. It's going to be an actual plantable device that they're going to put inside you that's going to be assigned specifically to you, sort of like your Social Security card, but it's going to be on a microchip, and it's going to house your bank statement or your bank, your medical records, your passport, your driving license, everything is going to be on there. All right. It says, Revelation 13 and 16, and he causes all. Who is the he? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the elites to be more specific. Both small and great, rich and poor. See, this is going to be the new way of life. Don't matter if you got $1 in the bank or if you got $1 million. You're gonna have to provide that proof of citizenship, okay? And if you want to open up an account, because it's going to more likely say, in order for you to get universal basic income, to ease the pain, you're going to need to open up an account and have proof of citizenship, birthright citizenship, all right? It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, whether you free or whether you locked up, to receive a mark. See, when you go into that word mark, it's charagma. That's going to be an implantable device that they're going to put underneath your skin. It says, in their right hand, It could be your right or it could be your left or in their foreheads, right? Because let's say you don't have any hands. Then where you going to get it at? You're going to have to get it in your forehead, all right? Now, the one that they're going to have in your forehead is going to be probably a lot different than the one they're going to have in your hand because why? The one in your forehead is going to be able to do much more things, all right? It's going to be like a brain-computer interface. It's going to be able to interact with you with a screen that, more than likely, you're going to be the only one that can see it, all right? It says, and that no man or woman or child might buy or sell, see? So they're setting the stage, they're saying that Trump administration wants to require all banks to have proof of citizenship for their account holders, whether they're current or whether they're new, to crack down on immigration, all right? And they always use immigration, okay? Because that's the go-to move, immigration, citizenship. We made our promise on we would crack down on immigration and deporting all these illegal migrants. All right. Well, how they get bank accounts in the first place if they're illegal? See? But to each his own. We know where all roads are leading to, and they all leading to that charagma. It says, in that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. See? So what are you going to do when you done accumulated all this wealth in this man's society in order for you to keep it? Because it's going to be in your bank. You don't have $2-3 million in your mattress. All your money is tied up in, banks or tied up in, 401ks or tied up in stocks or what have you. And they all going to require you to have proof of citizenship. And eventually, it's going to all lead to the mark of the beast. All right, that charagma. If you a stock trader, if you, have money tied into your 401k, your IRAs, all that's going to be tied to this up-and-coming system spearheaded by the charagma, the mark, the RFID microchip. You going to really be willing to lose all of that? Come on, make that make sense. You know the people ain't going to really go for that. They're going to take it, okay? They're going to take it because why? They feel like they got too much to lose, see? And this is what separates the elect from all the others, all right? Now, speaking primarily on our nation, Israel, Yasharallah, the 2/3 of our people that's either accumulating wealth or relying on the government is going to take this because why? They don't have faith, all right? So it says, in that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, see? You ain't going to be able to buy and sell unless you got it, man. All right? Try going into Kroger's or Walmart or Target or wherever, and in that time buying something with outdated currency. The coins, the dollars that we have right now, they ain't going to be no good in that time. They're going to be useless. All right? Best just used for, fuel or fodder or, something to light the fire with, because you ain't going to be able to use it in any stores. They're not going to recognize it as legal tender. All right. So it says, here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 666. 666, Chi Psi stigma. Going to that word stigma, it means to prick. They're going to prick you with that hypodermic needle that they're going to administer the mark underneath your skin. All right. And then that's going to be all the proof that you need. You ain't going to have to worry about showing proof of a citizenship. You're going to have to worry about all that. It's going to all be embedded within that microchip. Everything. Probably your blood type, your passport, your driver license, your medical records, your current status, your bank account. Everything is going to all be on that microchip. All right. And, this is exactly where they're taking it to. All right. And whether you are on board or not with it, it's not going to matter. Okay. Because they're going to tell you, hey, either you use it or we can, take it from you. Okay. Pretty much, hey, we give you a 30-day notice. I don't know how many days they're going to give you or how they're going to do it, but I'm just giving you an example. And they can say, well, if you don't claim it by this time, it's going to be turned over to the bank. All right. So what are you going to do? get in an uproar, you know, march down to your local Senate or Congress and tell them this is my money and I want it now. Like the the JGW Wentworth commercial, man. They're gonna tell you they ain't got it. All right. And if they got it, they're gonna say, well, you have to comply to the orders that were put out by the president. All right. And I can see, a lot of people in an uproar over that. So we shall see if this, catch wings and take off, or is it just, something just for them to put into the news just to get it, out there to see how people are going to react to it. All right. So let's go ahead and close out. That was pretty much it on that topic. And let's just read this in 1 Peter. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober, be vigilant. See? And they know how to strike a nerve with the people when you talk about their finance, their money, their livelihood. All right. That'll get people talking. Okay. See, but if you are easily invoked by that, you ain't going to make it when they actually come down with it. When they actually roll this out and they say there's been an EMP or some type of cyber attack or what have you, and the only way you can resolve or get any of your money back is if you have proof of citizenship and you go down to your local, detention center or what have you, or wherever it is that they chipping people, and you get the chip and we'll restore everything you had back. And a lot of people are going to be like, I don't want to do it, but I got no other choice. See? Some may hold out for a while. Some may fold right away. All right? But see, it's ultimately whether or not the Lord is dealing with you. Okay? And if you're not doing what it's telling you in this verse right here, then guess what? There's a strong chance that you're not going to make it. So let's read this again. This is 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It reads, be sober. See? Be vigilant. Understand that this is all coming to an end. All right? It was good while it lasts. Okay? But as they say, all good things must come to an end. Okay? Your freedom, that little bit of, independence that you thought you had, it's all coming to an end because, hey, they see that people are making way more money than they supposed to without being taxed, okay? And they got to get the people taxed. They got to get their cut, all right? The only way they can get their cut is if they track every transaction that you make. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, see? This damn devil, he wants to track everything, and he wants to use, Jake as the scapegoat. Yeah, we just using it for immigration, just to get one foot in, and then once they get it in, forget about them turning back. Now we need this. Now we need that. See? So it says, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Okay? Now we know these things are far off, but they're not. Okay, because all it takes is one major incident or catastrophe to happen, and then they're justified in doing what it is that they're doing. Okay, so although it seems like it's just something that just out there, in the blue, it could catch wings and take off with the right type of, false flag or black swan event or what have you, especially like what's going over there in Mexico right now. Okay, all it takes is to bring something like that here to America, and the next thing you know, they justify in getting citizenship approval bank accounts. All right, so we got to be sober and vigilant because the adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. All right, so that's going to pretty much end it. With that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson, and until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong. Stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.